Hello.
Hey, Heidi.
Hi, Ellie, and welcome everybody.
Yeah, it's season 2.
We're back, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, so exciting. So exciting.
I
I'm
know.
ready to get back into it.
I know we were both talking about how we miss recording. It was a good break,
Yeah.
but I mean, schedule wise, I think it was just good for us to take a break over the holidays. But in terms of missing just chatting with each other and
No.
putting out our content, I miss
And
it.
we've been
So
like brainstorming all these ideas while we've been off, and I'm so excited for like what's to come. Like
I
we're gonna
know,
have
I
such
know.
good episodes. I can't wait.
Some really good episodes. Yeah, it's gonna be great. We got some guests lined up. We got some
Yes.
topics lined up that we kind of have heard from you guys that you want to hear about. So it's gonna be awesome. And just also like thank you guys for making season one so far like a
Yeah.
success. Like it's been taken really well by everybody. A lot of people are tuning in and it's just exciting. I'm excited for, I feel like season one was like our test run of like
Yes.
we didn't really know what we were doing. Like I listened back to some of the first episodes. I'm like our audio was horrible, like
Uh-huh.
everything. And so now I'm like I feel like we have all the bugs figured out, and I'm just excited to like jump in with more of like a plan and structure and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're gonna go to YouTube.
Oh
We're
yeah.
taking
I just said to Ellie, I was like, now that we have the video thing figured out, why don't we just upload these to YouTube? So if you want to watch us in person, because I'm a type of person that I talk with my hands all the time, and sometimes I'm like, like this, and I'm like saying something with my hands. I'm like, this would be great if somebody could actually see what I was doing.
I know, instead of like just the small little snippets of things that
Yeah,
we share on social media. I know. Yeah, that'll be
yeah,
fun. That'll be fun.
yeah. It will
So,
be fun. It'll be great.
yeah. Well, so how was Christmas? How were the holidays for you guys?
They were good. I know you guys were sick, right? A lot.
Yeah. My daughter was sick with like respiratory stuff like right before Christmas, like the Thursday before Christmas. We had to go to the doctor and get antibiotics
Oh
and
no.
steroids and all that. And then, we got over that. And then New Year's Eve, we got sick with the stomach bug.
Ugh,
And
that's my
it
worst
was
nightmare.
awful. It was
Oh my
awful.
gosh, did the whole
There's
family get
not,
it or just you and Brax?
well, it was kind of weird because it hit me like suddenly. I cleaned my house, I cooked food, we had friends over for New Year's Eve, unfortunately. And I
Did you-
like came down with it. I came down with it like right after the Chiefs game. And that's when everyone showed up. And
Oh
honestly,
no.
like it started out, I just like my food didn't sit well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ugh, like I just don't feel that great. But I was like, whatever. I have stomach issues anyways. Like it's not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of like, ugh, you know. And then it progressively got worse. Like I was so nauseous. I had to like wear C-bands and use peppermint oil. And I was like popping
Mm-hmm.
Tums, which is not my normal like thing. I hate Tums. I hate taking like
I
stuff like
hate
that.
them too. Oh my goch, they make me
Mm,
nauseous. Tom's like the taste of like
really?
the cow, like the
Yeah.
powdery taste. Ugh.
Chalky. Like, whoa. Yeah. So, anyways, I was just like trying to fight it off all night and trying to like also not abandon everyone. And
Yeah.
so, I just kind of chilled on the couch while everyone played games and laughed along. And yeah. And then everyone left right after midnight. And I just puked my guts up right after that. And I was like,
Oh
well,
my
here we
gosh.
go. Here we go.
Ugh.
And then I
I
was so anxious
mm-hmm.
for who was going to wake up throwing up next. So anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And Brax started out in his bed and he came into our bed, I don't know, an hour after maybe I went to sleep. And I was like, you okay? You good? You feel okay?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Yeah. And so he climbed in bed and then maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, he woke up and it was like that two cough. And then it like, puke
Yep, the
followed, like two
kid. Yep,
coughs.
that's how the kids are. Yep.
There was no warning, it was all over the bed and it was awful. And I felt terrible. It was terrible. New Year's Day
Oh,
sucked. Like, I'm
Oh,
glad we were home. I'm glad we were all home and didn't really have
didn't
plans.
travel or
But
anything.
I
Yeah, but
Yeah, but I literally was like, I feel like curled up in the fetal position, like parenting from the couch most of the day. It was
yeah.
terrible.
I have like a really
And then
bad
like,
fear of
no
throwing
one
up.
else really got it.
Oh,
You what?
really? I said I have a really bad fear of
Yeah,
throwing up. Like very,
me
yeah,
too.
it's pretty
I
bad.
absolutely hate it.
And I do not, it's more so like I just hate the feeling of throwing up so badly that then I am like a bad parent when my kids are throwing up. Like I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I literally will like if Alda starts
No.
throwing up, I will literally walk away from her, like, and be like, Joe, or like, I will literally just be like, okay,
That's my
bye.
husband.
Yes.
That is my husband. Like he cannot do the bodily fluids. And even as a nurse, I will say, even as a nurse, like there are certain bodily fluids that I'm just like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
do it. But I do okay with the kids, and I just kept a bowl close by because later on in the day we thought, I was starting to feel okay. We ate some lunch, immediately felt worse. And Brax included, he kept breakfast down and then he ate lunch. And I took a shower. I was in the shower and I just heard like chaos ensue, like outside. And I was like, open the shower door. I was like, what's going on? Everything okay? And my husband was like, there's like blue slushy all over, like because he got a blue slushy for lunch because he felt
Uh-huh.
better and he really wanted one. And I was like, yes, here's Jay. Like, you feel good. You kept breakfast down. Like, you can have a little bit of a blue slushy. He never drinks the whole thing, anyways. But yeah, my husband was like, there's puke everywhere. Brax is puking everywhere. It's all over the carpet and the couch and everywhere. And I was like, oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh. So like I got out of the shower and I had to like quarantine everyone and clean it all up. And it was just a whole thing. It was a whole
Yeah.
thing. But it only
Uh,
lasted 24 hours. We got through it. And by, Tuesday, we were doing good. Actually, really
yeah.
by Monday night, we were doing fine.
Yeah, it gives me
But yeah, it
so
was
much
just
anxiety. Alda, this week, she had like a cold, and the night before she got a cold, she kept saying she had a headache really bad. And then she ate, like, we all got ice cream, and she kept saying she wanted her ice
Mhm.
cream later. And I was like, that's really weird. And then I was like, okay, we were at a friend's house. So I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna just throw away the ice cream like before we leave. So then she was like, no, I want to eat it. So then she ate the whole thing. And the second we got home, she just puked all into the toilet. And then I was up all night anxious that she was getting like the stomach bug and checked on her like every 2 hours. I
Mhm.
checked to see if she had puked again in her bed like over and over again because I just have so much anxiety about the stomach bug and the whole family getting the stomach bug and everything that I was just up, but she never
Yep.
puked again. And then she woke up with a cold. So I think she just had like, you get like a lot of mucus on your stomach with a cold. And
Yeah.
I feel like she
All that
just like then
drainage.
ate the ice cream even though she didn't want it. And then it just like all came back up. But I was literally up all night with
Ugh,
like panic
God.
attacks because I'm so scared of throwing up and stuff. And Alda had the throat virus once
Yeah.
really bad when she was like Desi's age or a little bit. She was like 2.5 and he's about to turn 2. So she had the stomach bug really bad around the age. It was like 3 days it lasted. It was just, like she just, every time we thought she was better, she would eat something and then start puking again. Like it was horrible. We ended up actually taking her
Oh
to
my
the
gosh.
emergency room
Yeah.
because it was 3 days of her not keeping down any like fluids, anything. And
Yeah.
so anyways, and at the emergency room with her, I then got sick and got like a really bad throw up virus for like 3 days while we were at the emergency room with her. And anyways, and it was just horrible because at that age they can't contain their throw up at all. And so like, you know what I mean? Like they don't puke into a bowl or into the toilet or something. They're just like puking everywhere. And so I have so much anxiety about, I'm still like traumatized from the experience of like Desi getting the, I'm so afraid of like her getting it and then passing it to Desi. So I was just like up all night, like anxious, like is Desi going to start waking up and
Yeah.
throwing up or like whatever. I was just like so anxious about it. I have such a hard time with it.
Yep.
But we haven't gotten it badly
Yeah.
like
That's
that
how I
since
felt
she was
too.
2.5. Like we've gotten little bouts of like
Yeah.
stomach stuff, but never like the foot like that, like 3 days of puking or whatever. It was, oh, that was horrible.
I
And
feel
then I
like we get it every year.
got, yeah, this is my daughter's only like second year in preschool, and then she was home with us during the pandemic. So I feel like it's like we're just starting to get like exposed to like the, you know, the winter, all the winter illnesses and all that stuff. But she had the throat virus earlier this winter, like I guess late fall, but none of us got it. She puked like 7 times in a row and then just woke up and none of us had
It's
it.
so weird.
Yeah,
It's
but I
so
was
weird.
thankful.
Like, so I had that anxiety all night. Like when Brax woke up throwing up, Brinley hasn't been sleeping the best since she's had like their respiratory junk. And so
Yeah.
every time she was really restless at night, and every time she like made a sound, I was like, oh my gosh, like watching on the monitor. Is she throwing
Yep.
up? And
Hmm.
it's every time it was exhausting. Like not only was I already anxious because I didn't want to throw up again and I was fighting it all night, like
Yep.
I was just like, oh my gosh. And then yeah, she never so far hasn't come down with the puking. Like she did have like more poopy diapers and a little bit looser
Hmm.
stool like New Year's Eve throughout the day. So like maybe that
Yeah.
was it for her. And then my husband just had like 24 hours where he just didn't feel good, but like didn't really have
Yep.
any of the other symptoms. Like he was kind of like achy and like fatigued. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just so
But
weird.
didn't get like
It's so weird.
the
I'm
full
glad
out
it's
stomach
over.
thing. Yeah. Yeah. But so other than that, was your Christmas good? I guess I never even talked about our Christmas yet, but how was your Christmas other than sickness?
Yeah. Christmas was good. It was good.
That's good.
I just feel like everything, like the way that Christmas fell, everything was spread out enough that it didn't feel, because we talked about this, like we have so many Christmases throughout the month,
Hmm.
and yes, it's exhausting having something like every weekend, but also it makes Christmas Day kind of nice because, or like that weekend, because we didn't
Yeah.
have like a ton of stuff to go to. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
nice.
really good. And we Brax has been asking for a dirt bike for like 6 months. And so we
Oh,
finally broke down and got him like a battery powered dirt bike. Yeah. So that
that's
was his like
fun.
main Christmas gift. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. So he got that, and we gave it to him a few days early because the weather was so crappy on Christmas. It was like rainy and kind of cold, and we are
Yeah.
like, he's not going to get to ride it at all. And how do you give a kid a dirt bike and be like, sorry, you can't ride
And then be like, yeah.
it?
Yeah. Now wait a week.
So we gave it to him a couple days early, and it was nice because we got to kind of play around with it over the weekend before the weather got crappy and whatnot. And Brinley just loved, everything she got. She's just kind of at that age that she's just happy with, you know, her baby
Yeah.
dolls and her stroller.
Yeah. Just opening anything. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
No,
It's fun.
I
It
totally
was
get that.
really fun. She was like a beast at opening presents, though, man. She was just like
Oh,
tearing
really?
into them and like didn't need help at all. She wanted to open everyone else's presents. It was cute. It was fun.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but like tell me about yours. How did everything go?
Desi was like the opposite of he'd open, like Alda was opening his presents. She'd be like, as she opened, like she tore through her presents and then was like, Bubby, do you think you want help opening your presents? And he's of course like, yes, Sissy. And then she's like opening all of his. And he's just like, little by little. And every time he got something, he'd just be like, truck. We got him like 3 or 4 different kinds of trucks. And then I was like, he's going to just open everything and be like, truck, truck. That's what he's like obsessed with right now is trucks. So, and we have this like Paw Patrol like station, like it's like a Paw Patrol station. And then, but you have to
We did
buy.
too.
Oh, really? Do you? And you have to buy like each of the characters' trucks
The,
individually. The one that opens, yes. The
yeah,
like
it's like
truck
the
station.
headquarters.
Yes, yes. We have. So I got that on
We got
clearance.
that last
Right.
Christmas.
Yeah, so it was on clearance at Target last year or this earlier, like this fall for like $30 I got it for
Mm.
for Alda's birthday. But then we've
What?
been like slowly like accumulating like the trucks that go with it. And so we got him like some of the trucks
Mhm.
that go with it. And then we do, have you ever heard of the pickle when you hide the pickle in the tree? Or is that a Northeastern
Uh-uh.
thing? Okay. It's probably a
I've never
Northeastern
heard
thing.
of that. I don't know. Huh.
So there's I've done it since I was little, but it's a pickle ornament. It's not a real pickle that you hide in the tree, and all the kids look
Oh.
for it, and whoever finds it gets an extra present. So our kids do it, but we just always get something that they can like
Oh.
share because they're old, they're younger, so we always
Yeah.
get something that's kind of like a share present for them. So we got one of those trucks too as like their share present, because it's like a share toy of theirs. So anyways, so he got tons of trucks, and I also got him like a garbage
Yeah.
truck that like dumps. Like you can like use a little lever to like get the garbage can and dump it into like the big trash can. And then my
Mhm.
mom got him like an excavator truck that he rides on and can like dig in the dirt and the snow with. So it was literally just like truck, 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 and he just wanted to play with every truck every time he opened a new one.
Happy
So
camper. Happy camper.
yeah, and then we got him one of the climbing triangles. We got him one of those because he is just, like
Mhm.
the wooden climbing triangles, because he's just wild, like compared to
The
Alda, just
pickler
like
triangle.
yes, the pickler triangle, that's what they're called. Yeah, he's just so wild compared to Alda with climbing and everything. And so we got him one of those, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure because his second birthday's coming up, we're pretty sure we're gonna get a play couch for his second birthday, and just like that's gonna be his only present, because we just never got one
Yeah.
with Alda because she wasn't super into like all the climbing and the physical play, and we have like not a huge house, so
Mhm.
it seemed kind of annoying to have one. But he is like so into, like, he's always taking the couch cushions off the couch and building things and climbing on things and jumping. So I'm like, why don't we just get bite the bullet, and just
Mhm.
that will be like his second birthday present, is getting like a play couch. So yeah, but they had, and then Alda had lots of fun too. She got like a lot of little gifts this year. I don't think she had like one big gift. It was just like a lot of like little things and stuff. But yeah, it was really fun. And then Joe surprised me and got me an Apple Watch. So that was,
That's
yeah, so that was,
exciting.
I
I love
know. I
that.
was like, yeah, I've been saying like for a year. I mean, I just didn't feel like we had like the money for one. So like I never like bought one. But then I was like, for like a year, I've been like, oh, do you know what would be really nice? I always see doctors always have smartwatches, like an Apple Watch, because then they can like check their messages while they're like doing a delivery and stuff, and they're not like
Mhm.
on their phone. They can see if there's like other emergencies happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would make me like be on my phone so much less, because every time I hear my phone ring, I have to go like get up from playing with the kids and look at it, because it could be a client in labor, it could be a client having like an emergency or whatever. And so I'm like, even if only like 5% of the time it's a client texting me or calling me, I like always have to look at my phone. And then I feel like I get distracted once I look at my phone, because then I'm like, oh, I have these emails I need to respond to. Oh, I have these Instagram DMs I need to respond to. So I then like, I'm just checking to see if it's a client calling me, but then I get like distracted, then get on my phone and stuff and like start answering things when I'm like home with the kids or at meetings or whatever. And so
Mhm.
I was like, oh gosh, it'd be so nice to have a
Yeah.
smartwatch. And I already feel like, what is it, like 2 weeks in now from Christmas, I've been on my phone like so much less. Like I just, because like I can just look to see if it's
Yeah.
important and then be like, oh, it's not a client, so I'll just go check that later. And then I've been like way better about like just having like designated times where I get on my phone and like catch up on stuff. So I feel like it's been helping a lot with like work life balance and stuff. But
Mhm.
I was completely surprised. I thought it was like a jewelry box. And he kept telling me that he didn't
Oh.
get me anything off my wish list, but that he spent a lot of money on me and I'd be really happy about it. And I was like, well, I want the things on my wish list. I'd be happy about those. And so I was like really rude to him leading up to Christmas. He's like, will you just shut up and trust me? And then and then I looked at it under the tree and I was like, it's just like a necklace or something. Like, not that it isn't nice, but like I wanted the things on my wish list. And then I opened it and I was like, okay, that was
Ew.
what?
I get that way too. I'm like, I
Yeah.
mean,
I'm like, I picked
oh,
out those things for a reason.
but yeah.
But I was super happy after that I got the Apple Watch. It was very sweet, and I feel like it's helped me a lot with work life balance a little bit. So that has
Yeah.
been good.
The one thing
Um,
I don't love about mine is a lot of times like I will look and it will show like just tapping on the message to like read a full message, like then
mhm.
it doesn't show me that I have a message. So like if I don't
Yeah.
respond, because I don't love responding from my watch, if I don't respond, then I'm like, laying in bed at 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, I've had that issue a few times.
Yeah. So that's the only thing
Yeah.
that I have to like really be careful about because I'm like, ugh,
Yeah,
it's
I've been
totally
trying just not to tap like on the message if I
Mhm.
am like, oh, I don't, if it's not like a client or something and I don't like
Yeah.
need to respond to it, then just going to my phone. But yeah, definitely. And I also got an iPhone for the first time right before Christmas, so I have to like get used to that as
Yeah.
well. Like, like
Good.
it's just different. So it's been like a lot of, I'm just not good at tech, so it just is like it takes me a while to like adapt, but I'm getting there. I just always let Joe like figure that stuff out for me.
Mhm.
But it's been good. I feel like, I like the iPhone so far. I feel like the recording quality is a lot better, like on TikTok and
Mhm.
stuff. So I've been liking it. But yeah, it was a fun Christmas. We had a good time. My whole family came over and we're all in like our, pajamas and had cinnamon rolls and eggs
Yeah.
and uh all hung out all day, like all day. We just did nothing but like open presents and play with our presents and play with like the board games all to God and stuff. So it was really fun. And then we went to Union Station the next day and did like the whole Union Station Christmas stuff. Alda went ice skating for the first time. She had it on like her bucket list. She made a bucket list for the
Yeah.
year. And she
That's
really wanted to go
fun.
ice skating. It was really cute. And she did really good. She didn't want us. She's like a very independent, confident child,
Yeah.
even when it's not good for her. So she like did not want us to hold her or anything. So she would just like skate, 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 skate for 30 seconds, fall, then back up, then skate, 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 skate for 30 seconds and fall. And then just like over and over again. but she had lots of fun. And then we did Fritz. Have you guys been to Fritz? I'm assuming you grew up in Kansas City.
We have, yeah, we have. We haven't gone since we've had Brindley though, and I think it was I don't know, one of the days over that weekend, I was like, oh, we could go to Union Station and we could do Fritz and like all of that ice skating, like literally the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't go. We just didn't.
Yeah.
But
Let me tell you, Fritz is so overstimulating. Oh my gosh, it makes me want to
it
lose
is.
my mind. But Desi was literally obsessed with it because he's obsessed with trains and trucks right now. He's such a
Yeah.
boy. No matter what we like show him, it's just trains and trucks, everything. And he literally was just the whole time like every single train he saw, it was just as exciting as the first one he saw. It was just train,
I
train,
love that.
train. And then he'd be like confused why we weren't so excited. So he'd be like, Mama, no.
That's
Why
so
was
fun.
nobody looking? Like it was just like over
Yeah.
and over again for like
The
the
other
whole 30
thing
minutes we were there.
Yeah, the other thing that I was like worried about was it being busy and because you can't make a reservation or anything. And
Yep.
so just it being busy and having to like entertain the kids while we waited
Yes.
and
We
whatever. Because
my
I remember
whole
last time we had to
family.
wait.
Yeah, you have to wait a long time. Yeah, so we went with my whole family, and two of us went and stood in line starting at like 11. Like I think they open at 10:30 and we went at like 11, and we were only in line for like 15 minutes, and then we just had everybody like meet us. Like they were at the play area. They just had like came and met us when we were
Yeah.
like close to the end of the line. But once we left at like 11:45, I mean the line was like wrapped around that whole area, just like
Yeah.
so long. It was probably an
Yeah.
hour wait at least. And so yeah, I was glad that we did it that way. But since we were with like it's all adults except for my kids and my sister's baby. So
Mhm.
and my brother and his wife don't have kids and stuff. So there was a lot of people to be able to like wait and other people be with the kids and
Yeah.
stuff. But otherwise I probably wouldn't have gone the day after Christmas because it was pretty crazy. But it
Yeah.
was fun. We had lots of
Well,
fun. And then the next day is me and Joe's anniversary, the
yeah.
27th. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
it
so
was like
exciting.
it's like 1,000 things this time of year, and then me and Joe's 30th birthday is coming up in the next
Mhm.
Joe's is next this week and mine's next week. So it's just insane and like an insane amount of stuff. But we had fun. It was our 9-year wedding anniversary and we just like went out to dinner at this place that we really like down in like the 18th and Vine district. Oh my gosh, I forget what it's called, but it's like an oyster bar with also steak.
Mhm.
Like it's oysters and steak and
Oh,
it's
nice.
so good. Yeah. But it was funny because it's
Yeah.
like a random like it was like a random Wednesday, but like it's our anniversary. And so we went and they apparently do something on Wednesdays called like cocktails and conversations. So they literally had a
Oh,
microphone and people were like submitting questions and they'd pass the microphone around to people to like give their thoughts and opinions about the
oh
question.
my
And
gosh.
it was not like a like when we walked in, it was not like a you can't participate. Like it was like you participate. Like if you're there on Wednesdays type of thing. So we ended up like on our anniversary, but it was actually really fun. We were just like everybody was talking about, it went from like silly questions to like gun violence in our city to homicides to like, then we asked a question about like since it was our anniversary, we were like, does anybody want to give like because there were some like older couples there, like relationship advice of what you wish you knew about relationships like in your 20s and 30s or whatever. So people were talking about that, and so it was really fun, but it was just like funny because we just thought we were going for like an
Yeah.
intimate dinner at one of our favorite restaurants, and it was just like we were just like hanging out, and then we went to have you ever been to oh my gosh, my like brain is just blanking, the jazz place downtown, why can I not think of it?
I
The
have
Green
to.
Lady Lounge. Oh my gosh, that's what it is. The green. I kept wanting to say Blue Lady, and I was like, "That's not it. It's not the Blue Lady." The Green Lady
No,
Lounge. Have you ever been to the Green Lady Lounge?
no, I've not.
Okay, well, if you guys have you ever done like jazz? Do you guys like jazz or no?
I mean, we don't mind it. It's not something like we usually like set out to like go
To
do,
like
but
go to. Yeah. No,
I think it's
it's
fun.
really good. Yeah, it's really fun. It's right downtown, Green Lady Lounge, like by oh my, I'm not even gonna try. I'm not gonna try any other areas to tell you because I just like my brain apparently I haven't finished my coffee yet. My brain is literally like not one thought I can conjure in my brain right now. Anyways, but yes, it's downtown Green Lady Lounge. We've gone there a lot of times, but we went after for like a drink. And honestly, we probably could have stayed out for like another hour or two, just like because we didn't get to talk at all at dinner. So we were like talking then
We
at
were
the Green
talking to
Lady, but
everyone
then it was
else.
yeah, we were talking to everybody else, and then it was like, okay, now we want to like catch up because we kind of like to do like a post mortem on our anniversary every year of like what worked last year and what didn't work and like what do we want to change about like our next year of marriage and stuff. So we like to like talk about that stuff on our anniversary, and so we were like doing all that, and then it was like, okay, we have to let my parents go to bed because my parents were over watching the kids, and it was
Yeah.
like starting to get late, and they just are not late night people. So we were like, okay, we gotta get home. But there was like there was we like took a picture outside, but there was like outside the door because it's downtown was this like
Mhm.
homeless man who I'm sure is perfectly harmless, but he was obviously like kind of crazy, like insane. Like he obviously had a mental health issue, and he was had a hockey stick, and he was like twirling the hockey stick like crazy the whole time, like right outside the door of the Green Lady, like in the alley right next door. And so, like when we first came, I saw him, and I was like, I'm not going in there with like a guy twirling a hockey stick like right there. And so then we like waited till we saw other people go in, and he didn't bother any of them. And then we like parked and then walked up. And then when we were leaving, I was like, "Oh, the man with the hockey stick is gone." And Joe's like, "No, he's just in the alley. He can hear you. Shut up." So then we like ran a block down and then took a picture for our anniversary, so we weren't next to the crazy guy. But
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Okay. I was like, I saw something in your little post of your pictures that had something about a hockey
yeah, you
stick.
probably saw them on my
Yeah.
personal Instagram. You probably
Yeah,
saw,
they were
yeah, the
so
picture
cute.
from our anniversary. Yeah, it was
Okay.
really funny. So we were like trying to dodge him, which he didn't. He seemed harmless, but like it was just kind of a situation that you don't want to like
Yeah.
be walking right
I mean,
next right by
it's
him
okay. You
twirling the
do
hockey
little
stick.
things.
Yes. Yeah. So, anyways, but we had a lot of fun. We felt like we were like talking through this year of marriage. We were like, we just don't do well like our relationship doesn't do well the year after we have a baby.
Mhm.
Like both times we've had a baby. I know some people that feel like, oh, it brought us so close together. I'm like, that is just not us at all. Like I feel like the sleep deprivation and the difficulty of like caring for a baby, we just tend to take it out on each other because I think we're like each other's. We're also like, I'm like, we're also each other's safe space. Do you know what I mean? Like, we
Mhm.
know we can take it out on each other and then like them not, like leave us or anything. So like, I mean, that's good, right? So that's like one good part. But generally, like our relationship just suffers because I tend towards like attachment parenting the
Yeah.
first like year or two of my kid's life too. So I like don't want to like go out on dates or go on overnights and stuff because like I want to be there for like bedtime and stuff, which like is
Mhm.
my husband has like agreed to that. Like he's on board with it also, but it just is like tends to like our relationship just doesn't do great. So
Yeah.
we were both like this year was like, we felt like we got out of that like this year,
Mhm.
because Desi was like a year, he's almost 2. So we were like, this year of our marriage, we feel like we're finally starting to like come out of the crappy period of, and Desi's pregnancy was really, really difficult for me too. So it was
Yeah.
like 2 years, it felt like in a row of just like me not being super present in our relationship and also Joe just being stressed and us
Yeah.
just like bickering and arguing a lot. So we were like, wow, we feel really good. Like this year, we can't feel like we came out of that and we've like spent a lot more time together and enjoyed each other more and figured out like our equilibrium again. I feel like we figured that out post Alda, and then it all gets up
Yep.
thrown up again. And so we feel like we figured out our equilibrium again. I've made time for each other. So we were just like, yeah, we're like looking forward to our 9th year of marriage. But yeah, the year, I don't know if you kind of said you guys are the same, but the first year post baby is just sucky. And I feel like
It is
nobody
so
talks about
nobody
it.
no, and I feel like I mean, I do try to talk to like our clients and stuff like when we're doing
Yeah,
education,
I know you
like
do. Yeah,
about relationship stuff because I don't think I was prepared for that. We prepared to get pregnant for 4 years, and so like once we did, it was like blissful, like so exciting. We were finally pregnant. We were having this baby, and then like there is a little bit of a in the first couple months where you are really figuring things out and you're watching your spouse become a parent and it's kind of like honeymoon-ish
yeah,
a
there's
little.
joy in it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it just gets really hard. It just gets really hard.
Hmm.
And I think that's more the norm than it is the opposite of like, everyone feeling like they're closer together and better and all of that. Like I feel like it's probably more the
Absolutely.
norm of it just being really hard and like when I was thinking about my goals for this next year,
Hmm.
I was thinking about the exact same thing that you just said. Like, I feel like for both of my kids, both of my pregnancies, there's two like postpartum fogs that I come out of.
Hmm.
And like the first one is like 6 months, where I'm like,
Hmm.
all of a sudden, just feel like I have a little bit more mental clarity, a little bit more capacity. Like, I feel more confident, whatever. And then the next one does not come until like 2 years.
Yep.
And when I hit that like 18 months to 2 years like phase, like there's just something that happens. And I'm sure it's like hormonally and, just life in general. But
And like
like,
weaning, like you're probably not
all of
nursing
the-
very
yeah,
often and like all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and sleep and all of those
Hmm.
things. But I just, it's literally like 2 years that it takes for,
Hmm.
to feel like yourself and to like feel comfortable going out on date nights and, doing that more often and not having as much mom guilt and like all of that. Like it just, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was thinking about
And
that too when
totally
I was
like,
setting.
yeah, like, and totally TMI too, but like I just do not get like my sex drive back until I get my period back, like my cycles back. And I haven't, like, I mean, not that, like, I never, like, okay, mom, if you're listening, skip over like the next 5 minutes. Like, not that like we never have sex or anything like that, like before I get my cycles back, but I just don't like feel, I don't know. I think it's just the hormones of like, when I'm like ovulating and like the hormones are actually like going, because that's like, I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's biological of like when you're breastfeeding enough that your hormones are suppressed enough to not have a cycle, that's your body saying like, don't get pregnant, like you're not ready to get pregnant again and have another baby and like stuff like that. And so I feel
Yeah.
like it's like biological, like I just don't feel like super into myself and super into my husband and like all that stuff until like I
Yeah.
get my cycles back, which for my daughter was 2 years and for my son was
Mhm.
18 months. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just a huge part of like your relationships and stuff. And like, I mean, I'm
And it's
grateful
hard, I
for
think.
like, yeah, I was
Sorry.
gonna say I'm grateful for my husband like sticking it out. And of course it's like, they are also a parent and like need to like there's sacrifice to you being a parent too. Like we're
Yeah.
actually the ones physically going through it and everything. But I could understand that it's like kind of, they're not physically feeling what we're feeling. So it's
Right.
just kind of weird, but I totally agree that like 2 years for me too feels like a big like moment in postpartum with both my kids. I think it's more like the consistent sleep, like getting like you're consistently now for a couple months maybe have been like sleeping more through the night, and you're
Yeah.
eating, your like mineral stores have started to regain and like all those things. I totally agree. And I hate like seeing moms who are like a few months postpartum feeling like rushed into like getting back into working out and getting back into regular date nights and like getting back into maybe like starting to get in shape to have another baby, and like it just all feels like so rushed. And I'm not saying that isn't right for some people, but I think like we need to in general like slow down a lot postpartum.
Yeah, and you touched on this, but I think it's just hard for our partners to understand because they're not physically feeling what we feel. And I know for
Mhm.
me, like I got my cycles back a lot earlier than you did with your pregnancies.
Mhm.
But so for me, it was breastfeeding. Like when I
Mhm.
completely weaned from breastfeeding is when I like felt more like myself, more attracted to my partner, like all of those things came back
Mhm.
when I stopped breastfeeding. But, I'm
Yeah.
also an attachment parent and like I'm going to
Mhm.
nurse until it's easy to wean and I'm not like forcing it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
totally, totally.
So,
No, I
kudos to our
I I
husband
get
for
it.
sticking around.
Yeah, and I think like, you just have to take the pressure off yourself. I think sometimes in like social media or us listening to if we're listening to like relationship podcasts or stuff like that, people will be like, if you're not having sex this many times a week or something like that, like your relationship must be horrible or whatever. But it's like, you know, things ebb and flow in life. Like if you're
Yeah.
married to somebody for forever, like there's not going to be like a set amount of times that you just like always have sex and that should be expected or something. So I think it's
Mhm.
okay for like seasons to ebb and flow and know that it will like come back and stuff, and just like take the pressure off yourself. Cause I think that if you put like, there's already so much pressure as a mother those first year or two of parenting,
Mhm.
especially if you're breastfeeding, that it's like if you also put all this pressure on yourself to also be the perfect wife and the sexy wife and like all that stuff, that is just gonna like honestly break you. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have some balance of like, we still tried to go out on dates once in a while and like, different things like that. We did a lot of like day dates when the kids were little,
Yeah.
because I just felt more comfortable with that. But, there's still like you got to make some time for your partner. But I think that we need to take the pressure off and like change expectations a lot. And I think like you talking to our clients about that stuff is like so awesome, because it is something that I don't think like anybody really like talks about and prepares for. Like you're so prepared for the baby and you don't
Yeah.
think about how much you're going to change, and because of how much you're going to change, like your relationship is going to change post
Yeah.
baby.
And
So
I talk to them like not because I have it figured out, like
oh yeah, totally.
because of my experience and
Mhm.
like and those around me and how hard it is, and more so just from a
Mhm.
place of like be prepared, like this is normal versus like I
Mhm.
know everything and I've got to figure it out and whatever, because that's definitely not true. That is not the
Yeah.
case.
Oh yeah. No, totally. Totally. No, I agree. But and like every relationship is different. So like their problems aren't going to be my problems or
Right.
whatever, but just a preparation of like there's going to be change in your relationship, and it's okay if you need to go to therapy and talk about it or talk with each other, or if you go through a season where like you're committed to each other and you're committed to parenting and you're doing all these things together, but you're just not feeling like you did pre-kids right after getting married when you had no responsibilities. Like that's okay if that changes and you have to like take a year or two to find your new like equilibrium and stuff like that. So I think that that's so important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you kind of mentioned that's kind of one of your goals for this year.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
What other New Year's goals do you have?
Well, so that one's really more like around growth. So, like, just growing, like,
Mhm.
now that I feel like I have the capacity and a little bit more clarity, like, just growing as a wife, as a mom, as a friend. I really want to, like, friendships also kind of go by the way, not by the wayside, but, they're not
Oh,
forefront all the
totally.
time in those
Yeah.
first couple years. And so, just working on, like, fostering and like really feeding my friendships and trying to be a good
Mhm.
friend, a better friend. I don't say I'm a bad friend, but just,
No, yeah, but
being
like
more
devote more
present.
time.
Yeah, devote more time, be more present. And then the other one that I thought was really so I had therapy literally January 2nd because I was like, okay, like we're gonna start this off on the right foot mentally. Like it wasn't really like struggling per se, but there's just a lot going on. And she talked to me a lot about living in the gray. Have you heard that
Mhm.
saying? Okay.
Yes.
So
I
she
talk to my
talks,
clients a lot about that actually because I feel like so many of our clients have such a hard time. A lot of our clients are highly educated,
mhm,
career-driven people and have such a hard and like are always looking at the research and they have a
yeah,
very hard time making
mhm,
decisions outside of black and white, which is like
yeah,
very a lot of birth and a lot of
yeah.
parenting is
Oh,
making
for sure.
decisions in the gray. So like I talk a lot with my but you go ahead, you talk about what you were gonna say.
Yeah, so we were talking about living in the gray as it relates to tasks. So, like
Huh.
tasks around the house, tasks at work, um, because I either am like really doing great and keeping up at everything, or I'm just not doing anything because everything feels so overwhelming. And so she was like, when
Mhm.
you feel yourself like feeling completely overwhelmed, like you're paralyzed and you can't do
Mhm.
anything, really just live in the gray. So she gave me this is a really simple like example, but like dishes. So you have a sink full of dishes, you feel like you need to do it, but you open the dishwasher and there's a whole dishwasher full of clean dishes. So you have to put those away and then you have to load
Uh-huh.
it. And that was really overwhelming to have to do all of that. So she said, so you're just gonna unload the dishwasher. Like that's
Mhm.
gonna be, it's not all or nothing. You're gonna live in the gray. You're
Yep.
gonna unload the dishwasher, and you might find that you can also load it, and it's not that big of a deal. But like
Mhm.
mentally, you've at least started. And so I'm just gonna try to like incorporate that because I have a lot of like big projects I want to do, like business wise and
Mhm.
work wise, and or that I'm already working on, and it all just feels like a lot. And I'm just, some days I'm like, I don't even know where to start, what to do, you know? Or if I'm taking care of things at
Totally.
home. If I'm taking care of things at
Mhm.
home and the house is in disarray and whatever, I feel like not accomplished because I didn't actually complete a task in my brain. I didn't
Uh-huh. Yeah,
organize
but you
the
didn't
whole
get the
house
house
so
clean.
before
Yeah.
nothing got done.
Yeah, no, I
So
totally get that. I've worked really hard this year to try to compartmentalize a little bit more when it comes to like my days home and my days at work of being like when I'm at work, I'm working and when I'm at home, I'm doing the house stuff. Like I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm catching up on all that stuff. And I just have like a notes app on my phone. And every time stuff for work like pops into my head that I have to do, I write it down on my notes app and I either do it during like nap time or after the kids go to bed, or if it can wait till the next day, like that I'm working, I just hold it off till then because I was doing so badly when I first started my business of constantly just feeling like there was a firestorm in my brain of like when I was home, I'd be like, oh, I have to do this for work. So I'd like pull up my laptop and then the kids were like yelling and then they were doing this and then they were making a mess. And then I'm like still trying to get the stuff done on my laptop. And then it was like, okay, now I just worked while they were playing. So now I didn't get the dishes done while they were playing. And now I have to get like, it was just like a firestorm all the time in my brain. And so I've tried a lot more this year to try to like be very good, like try to compartmentalize as much as possible. And I feel like it has helped keep like my
yeah.
brain free a little bit more of like, okay, the house might be a mess, but tomorrow I'm going to be home. So that's a problem for tomorrow, like instead of
Yeah.
for today. And so,
Yeah.
anyways, that I feel like I did that a lot last year, and I feel like it has definitely helped a lot. I have like two very different goals for this year. So one is just like a little thing. I really want to buy more of our clothes like consignment and thrifted. I do that a lot for the
Mhm.
kids, but I don't do that a lot for like me and my husband. And I just really love thrifting and consignment sale shopping, but it's so time consuming. And
It is.
I just feel like now I have a little bit more capacity this year to like almost kind of do it as like a little bit of like a hobby or a thing for me to do.
Mhm.
And I do, like I said, I do a lot for the kids. Like I consignment sale shop a lot and stuff, but I really enjoy it. So that's just like one thing of like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to buy one new piece of clothing
Right.
all year. Like I'm not going to make a big goal like that, but like I just want to like buy more stuff used because I just enjoy it more. It's better for the environment. It's better for our budget, like everything. So I just like want to spend more time doing that this year. That's just like a little thing that I thought of. And then my last thing, which I'm just going to unapologetically say, because we listen to all the business women podcasts, and I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to say it unapologetically because as a woman, we tend to feel bad about this stuff. But like, I want to make more money this year. So like
Yeah.
that's a huge goal of mine this year.
Yeah.
I kept saying last year that like last year was my year to figure out how to make money, and then this year is going to be my year to like actually make more money in my business because as women in a service based industry where it's like a compassion based industry, like we're working with families and everything. And, we want to offer our services for free, but we also have to make money. Like we want everybody to be able to
Yeah.
access them. And so like, I've always had a hard time like balancing the two.
Mhm.
And then you introduced me to like Jenna Kutcher, and I listened to the Financial Feminist also.
Mhm. Me
Do you listen to her? Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're two really great. If you're a female who like runs their own business, they're two really great podcasts that are just like, female power of like telling you how to, harness your power as like a
With
woman and
real
a
life
business owner.
mixed in.
Yes, yes, it's a lot of
Yeah.
because we tend to, and I don't think like I think that there's a lot of value to like women being in business and like the compassion and the care side that we bring and like the balance we bring to the business world of like how we want and value like balancing life and motherhood and parenting and all that stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, I just hit my microphone. With the business side, like I think that there's a lot of value, and I think that like the male dominated business world could value a lot from like integrating more like woman or in to inherently female values into like the
Yeah.
business structure. Like I think a lot of men could benefit from that also.
Mhm.
And so but anyways, I feel like at this point, like last year was pretty much the whole year I like trained Morgan onto our team, integrated you onto our team, and then
Mhm.
figured out how to switch to a team-based doula care model, which is freeing up a lot of my time, which we just launched starting in January. So that's really exciting. And then like that model was not only for me to have more time on my hands, but also to make more money, like because
Yeah.
we can take more clients in a team-based
Mhm.
model. So I felt like last year was like me trying to set myself up all year for like launching this year doing that. And then I raised my prices in 2024, and I feel like just after I figured all that out and talked with so many clients through it and like started marketing our team-based model and was getting like positive feedback about it, I just felt so much more confident. I'm like out of my baby doula years. Like I've been a doula now for a little bit over 3.5 years. So like I'm an experienced doula at this point. I now, had the year to like figure out training people and marketing our services and like all that stuff. So I feel like way more confident saying like, this is how much our services are valued, like more so
Yes.
saying like this is a reasonable price to pay for our services, and this is why like our
Mhm.
services are this much money. And so anyways, I felt really good about that. And then also, and I hit my goal by over, I think I like went over like $5,000 or $6,000 more than what my goal was for 2023 for like what I
Yeah.
wanted to make from the business. So that was really good. And then I've been working the whole last half of 2023. I've been working on my first course to launch. which I
Mhm.
guess I'll just announce, I'll like talk about it here, but I hadn't like publicly talked about it at all.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be launching a course, which Ellie knows what I'm doing, but I'm going to be launching a course for doulas that's all about like working in hospitals, because that's pretty much what we do is work in hospitals. So it's all about how to work in hospitals and advocate for your clients effectively in a hospital setting, and all the different options and how to work around medical interventions and all that stuff. So I've been working on that pretty much like the last half of last year. And I was getting pretty close to finishing, but I didn't want to launch it over the holidays because I feel like
Yeah.
everybody's so busy. And so I'll be launching that in the next like month. I plan on launching it. And so that's been really exciting. But I've just been like, yeah, I feel like, as so many doulas burn out of doula work by the 2-year mark. And so I'd really
Mhm.
like to, not just for myself, but also to show other people, like to figure out how to do this work in a more effective, and also like money is what keeps you from burning out, like feeling like you're being
Yeah,
paid effectively for all the work and time you're putting
absolutely.
into your clients. And so I really kind of want to like keep doing it, not just for like try pushing farther instead of like leaving doula work or just going online or something like that. Like I really want to
Mhm.
push farther to figure out how to do it more sustainably so that we can get more experienced doulas in the field doing the work and a more sustainable models of care, because we need more doulas, and we also need more doulas who haven't been only doing it for a year or two, because so many doulas get into the work, do it for a year or two because they're
Mhm.
passionate about it, and then it goes like, I had that point at the 2-year mark where it went from like, I love this to like, this is so draining, like my compassion
Yeah.
fatigue is getting so high, and my time is so limited because I'm always on call, like all that stuff. So I really wanted last year to try to figure out how to do this work more sustainably so that we can keep experienced doulas in the field, because personally I feel like I'm such a better doula now than I was at the 1 or 2 year mark. So like I would love to have more doulas who have been doing this for 3, 4, 5, 10 years in the
Mhm.
field than only doulas who have been doing it for a year or two. So anyways,
I
that's my
mean,
diatribe about my goals for this year.
I might be a little biased, but I think we've got a really great model figured out because, like,
Mhm.
yes, we raised prices, but we still have the scholarship fund. And
Yes.
that allows, and that's your work. Like, that allows, more people to have access. So, yes, we are raising prices for those that can afford it and can pay it, but then it
Mhm.
allows us to serve more people who can't necessarily
Yes.
afford full price and all of that. And,
Yes.
you
And that
know,
was a big part of me raising our prices, because I really realized over the last year that everybody reaching out who was paying our full price could pay more.
mhm.
Like the people who are like, they were like, oh, so it's only 1,200. Like a lot of people would say that to me, who like were paying full price. They felt like it was a really good deal. And so like I was like, so they would pay more for the services. But then I've gotten to the point where I'm getting a lot more traction in like our scholarship fund by having a lot more people reach out, whether it's because more people are learning about our scholarship fund. Like a lot of my scholarship fund clients are being referred from providers who,
Yeah.
like, the providers are like, hey, I feel like they could really use a doula, but they don't have the money for one. So like a lot of our scholarship fund people are being referred to us. And so I'm glad that like the word is getting out about our scholarship program, and all of those people are accessing doula care. Like that's why the scholarship program is there. But I've started to get the fund is like getting pretty drained of like, I've had to turn down 1 or 2 people who have reached out, which I hate. And
Yeah.
so like I was like, hey, the whole point of this model is that like the people who can pay, and I don't think we raised our prices to $1,500 for a dual package. I don't think that that's unreasonable for the amount of
No.
experience and what we're offering for our services either. So I'm not saying like, oh, I'm going to price gouge the people who can pay to give money to the other people.
No.
I'm just saying like I feel like that I was just trying to keep the price low because I wanted everybody to access it who could. And so I feel like I'm trying to find that equilibrium now of like, how do I price my services to a point where people value them? Because I also don't want people, like, honestly, I'm like, if I was like, oh, all these doulas who are really experienced are charging this much, and then I looked at ours, I'd be like, well, maybe they're not as experienced, or they're not as, whatever, because they're charging less. So I wanted to put it at like a point where like our services are valued, but also like we have that fund being generated to give to the people who can't pay full price, because there's lots of, like, my first baby, I definitely wouldn't have been able to pay full price for a doula and stuff. And so there's a lot of people who can really benefit from it. And that's why that scholarship fund is there. And I also think it's a reason why a lot of people, like, sometimes it can be the tipping point for a lot of people who pay full price working with us, saying, I'm glad that 10% of what I'm paying is going to people who can't pay for doula care, and so that they can
Yeah.
access it in the community. So anyways, I'm excited for this year. I feel really confident. I'm excited for just the business year, like to see what's going to come this year and all that, to see how my course launch goes. I'm just really excited about that. So if you're a doula listening to this, get on my email list so that you can hear about when that launches and everything like that if you're interested. So
Yeah, so exciting. It's going to be so good. So I'm proud of you. It's going to be awesome.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been
Um,
it's been a lot, but it's good.
I know we're like an hour in, but
Yeah.
I also know we're gonna cut some of this out. So, but like, okay,
We
so
will,
you
yeah.
mentioned you have a goal of like parent. This is kind of parenting, I guess. You have a goal of like thrifting more for like your family. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a specific like parenting goal? Like, did you think
That's a
about like a
really good
specific parenting goal?
question. Do you
I
have
can
one?
share mine, and then maybe you'll think of one.
Okay, share yours and then I'll
Nothing
think.
like they're not like crazy, but
Yeah, yeah.
like really, I just want to be like more present and intentional in the time that I'm spending with my kids because it's not like I don't get all day with them every day, so just being
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more present, like really truly like putting my phone away, like not being on it as much, and being conscious of what I'm saying no to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, there's boundaries, and I'm not saying I'm just gonna, it's a free for all, but like, am
Oh
I
yeah.
saying no because I like feel tired and I don't want to like get up and do that thing? Or am I saying no because like we literally like can't do that or, whatever. So those are kind of like the like overarching things. But then another thing is like, I'm sure you're the same way, but like my phone is full of pictures and videos, and I want to be better about one, printing those off so they
Mm-hmm.
have them, and
Yeah.
two, being more intentional about what I actually am capturing. Like not just taking a picture to take a picture, but like taking more intentional pictures. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Like actually
So
just
that
taking
I'm
pictures
not,
during the special moments instead of just like always having the video camera
yes,
in their face.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
So
really good goal.
those are kind
That's
of
a good
like,
thought.
those are
Gosh,
kind
I
of
would
like what
love,
I'm
I don't
thinking.
have like any pictures printed of the kids. I need to do that.
No,
I just have it all like on my Google Photos. Like, I mean, goes all the way
yeah.
back like 2014 or whatever, but
And they're not, or mine are not organized in any
no.
way. And so for Christmas, I had this goal that did not come to fruition. But it was to print, and I'd seen this on TikTok. But it was to print pictures for each kid to put in their stocking from the whole year, like,
Oh,
special
that's really cute.
moments.
Like a little photo book.
Yeah, like make little photo books so
Mhm.
then they would be able to like look through it, and then they would be able to save those and keep them,
Yeah.
to go back on each year. And so that was my goal to get done, and I just did not get it done. I got pictures like saved as favorites. So, again, living in the gray, I'm going to say like I got that part done at least.
Yeah.
Went through and like picked out favorites for each kid. But I just did not get them printed because I actually ended up being like quite a few photos still.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's just my goal. To try
Yeah.
to
Yeah, that's a really good
try to
goal.
like, if I'm going to be on my phone, maybe I spend it doing that instead of scrolling social media.
Yeah, totally. Me and Joe, like earlier in the or like late last year, we got a lot better about this. So I'll make it like because we talked a lot about this, and I'll just make it our goal for this year to keep doing better. But we just talked more about just making our time at home like a really positive space because we don't like same thing. Like working parents, so we're not home with like the kids all the time. So really making our evenings like really positive, like not like stressing a ton about dishes and chores and like all that stuff, but really focusing a lot more on like positive family time, or like, lots of times we would just like, me and Joe would like decompress from the day and like talk to each other about like the sucky things about our day and like stuff like that. And so we've been trying to like do that more like after the kids go to bed, if we're like frustrated with something or annoyed at something that happened during our work day or whatever, like talking about that after the kids go to bed, just trying to like not, because like I don't think you should make like, never fight in front of your kids or never have a negative emotion or like anything like that, because you want to show them like that life has negative emotions and this is how we work
Yeah.
through them. But just generally trying to keep like our space like a happy in the evenings of like we have family dinner together, and then like maybe playing a board game, or like, even if we're folding laundry, like doing it while we're talking to the kids while they're playing, and like just having more positive time together, because I do think it's so easy as working parents to just get like overwhelmed when we get home from the work day, like
Yeah.
everything that needs to happen and needs to get done, and the rush, and then it's like, okay, you rushed to make dinner, then you ate dinner, and then it was a rush to get baths, and then it was a rush to go to bed, and then you're like, gosh, I spent like no time like making my
Yeah.
child have like a happy environment with like their family at the end of the day. And so just trying to be a little bit more intentional about that.
And the
And so I'll make that
monotony,
my parenting goal. Yes.
the monotony of that, I don't know about you,
Yep.
but it wears on me, especially this time of year where we can't like come home and be outside and play. Like, it
Yep.
feels like, okay, we do dinner, we do bath, and we do bed every night. And like, I honestly get to a point where I don't even look forward to the evening. So,
Yep. It's just like
oh,
the
here's
same
another night.
thing.
Like, what are we going to cook for dinner? Let's cook dinner. Then we got to clean it up.
Yeah,
So
no, I
I love
totally get
that.
it.
I like,
Yeah, yeah. But then it's also like kids thrive on that like routine and that structure
right.
of like knowing that they're gonna have this like solid time with their parents at the end of the day and what's gonna happen during that time. And like they thrive off, I keep hitting my microphone. I'm sorry for everybody listening. They really thrive off of that. And so like even though it can be boring and mundane to us parents, just being a little bit better about the evenings that we're home, like making them really like trying to make them intentional and saving sometimes more things for after the kids go to bed, if we need to talk about something or we're arguing about something or like whatever, save that for after the kids go to bed instead of like spending that time just like being in like a frenzy with the kids, which
Yeah.
I'm way worse about that than Joe, because Joe's just a more relaxed, even keel personality, where I just am the one who gets like hyper of like there's all these things to do, there's all these things to talk about, and then like want to just like get into them and then have
Yeah.
to like rein myself
Yeah.
down and get more present of like I need to just like be mom Heidi right now and like hang out with my kids because they
Yeah.
haven't seen me all day, and like make sure to kind of like pour
Yeah.
into them a little bit so that they're not, because honestly they're so much easier to put down for bed, they're so much less cranky the next day when they have to go to school and like all that stuff if you've spent more intentional time with them and they feel like their cup was filled up, like their love cup was filled up and their like family time was filled up and stuff. There's so much less like cranky and reactive if you're like filling up the things that they need during the day from you.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah, and that's kind of more for both of us like a working parent thing, which I don't know how many of our listeners
Yeah.
as working parents
Oh, yeah. We
having to be.
definitely could do a better job with that. Because
Yes.
yeah, I get home with them and I'm just immediately thinking about our like to-do list for the night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, if something doesn't get done, then a lot of times I'm like frustrated about it. And then that
Uh-huh.
just like spills over into the small amount of time we get with our kids. And
Yeah, which I guess I
yeah,
should
it's
add this on, but
enjoyable.
we wanted to also start to get Alda more involved in like the
Mhm.
chores and the
Yeah.
stuff that has to get done. Like, so doing it more as like family time than
Mhm.
like, oh, mom and dad have to do this. You go in your room and play because we have to do the
Yeah.
dishes or whatever. So trying to get
Yeah.
like her a little bit more involved now that she's getting older.
One of my friends, she has older kids, but she just started, well, it was before the holidays, but she just started this chore. It's kind of like a chore chart, but like they realized that they had never really
Mm-hmm.
taught their kids how to do things. Like, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not like they could just be like, okay, these are your chores now. So what they do is they each take a kid every
Uh-huh.
week. Sometimes, like, they switch sometimes, but they each take a
Yeah.
kid, and then they each take like a thing. So like it might be cleaning up after dinner and like dishes and like all of that for the
Uh-huh.
week, and then the other parent each day has like a different part of the house with their kid. So they've
Uh-huh.
are basically teaching them how to do things to like the level that they expect them to be done. And then eventually
Yeah,
the
that's a really good
goal
idea.
is to like divvy it all out and let them go on
Yeah.
their own and do it. But I was like, I love that. Like, we're not obviously quite at that point yet, but one day
Yeah.
when we are,
Yeah.
you know, teaching them
Because
how to
that's
do
so
it.
important. That's so
Mhm.
important for them to learn like how to do
Yeah.
all of those things around the house and stuff. And so, yeah, no, that's a really good idea. Well,
Yeah.
this has
Yeah.
been awesome, but we are just like, I mean, I know I'm going to cut some of it, but we have been talking for a long time, but we could catch up for a long time. But we have some other really great episodes coming up. I know we're going to have, oh, I don't know if I talked to you about this, but I got a few requests for us talking about our breastfeeding journeys.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
know our sleep journey pod was very popular. And so
Mhm.
I think maybe we'll make one talking about our breastfeeding journeys. When are your kids' birthdays? Because I have Desi's birthday coming up, so we're gonna have to do another birth story episode. But when are your two kids' birthdays again?
Brenly's is in March, the end of March.
Okay. And
And
then
then
is Braxton the
Braxton's
summer?
June. Yeah,
June.
June.
Okay. Okay. So it's funny. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like my two birth stories and then your two.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah. So we'll have to do Desi's birth, which was a really fun his birth. So I'm excited to chat about it. And then me and Joe are gonna do an episode, I think, on fair play and shared workload. And then
Yeah.
we're gonna have a yoga teacher slash doula in our area who I'm friends with come on the pod too to chat with her. She's a
And
prenatal yoga
pelvic
instructor.
floor.
So yes, oh yeah, yes, and you're
Pelvic
doing a
floor.
pelvic floor
Yep.
episode. Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
so it's going to be a fun season, and that's just the first couple episodes. But like I said, we've had so
Yeah.
many ideas we've been chatting about. I just thought I'd give you guys a little preview of what we're going to be chatting about the next couple of weeks, and I don't know in what order, but they'll be out there, those episodes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
Yeah. That's
anyways,
not
but
planned out yet, but it's
no,
okay.
we'll figure it out.
But yeah, so if anyone has ideas or things that they want to talk about, I love that you're getting some of those ideas. So
Yes. Yeah. I think like
cool.
two or three people messaged me about breastfeeding. So I think that would be a really good option to talk about
Yeah.
soon too.
Yeah.
So
For
yeah.
sure.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
awesome.
Well, happy
Have a
New
good
Year,
week, you guys.
everyone. Yeah.
Yes. Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.